Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday. How are you doing today, Austin?
I'm doing pretty good, Andrew. How about yourself?
All is well. Everything is great. We wanted to do today a quick checkup on some of the stocks out there, what's happening, but also to focus in on we want to kind of touch on big names out there that are impacting the markets a lot, that have been doing amazing things, and take their kind of position, their stock into account. And the way they see the markets and moving forward, because it's important. And they're mainstream people that have done incredible work. And so we'll get to it in a moment. We'll talk about Cathie Wood and Ark Investments. But before that, I think you had a couple news announcements and some information that we wanted to get out.
Yeah, just some nice updates on some companies that we're following closely. Obviously, the first one to touch on is Globex Data and Secure. They've rolled out another marketing plan down in the States, which is just going to get their product in front of, I'd say, more eyeballs, but it's actually a radio and podcast advertising deal, so in front of more ears, maybe. But they're going to be one of the lead advertisers on the Larry Kudlow show, on his radio show and podcast show. I believe it's an 18-month deal where they're going to be a sponsor. They're going to be heavily involved in promoting their secure platform on there. I think it's great opportunity for them to get in front of some more eyeballs, hopefully get some more people subscribing and downloading. And then that's going to be the next thing to look for with Globex Data is how many people are actually buying onto the product, how many people are using it, and how that growth trend moves forward now that they've launched in all these different countries.
Yeah, and like I said, with Secure, their product Secure and Globex Data, is that there's a length of time to get a subscriber. We know that with us, just even getting a free subscriber, there's a time period of people wanting to like you, get to know you, and whatnot. It's the same with any product. And for a paid product, it takes even longer, especially when you can look out in the market and go, there's a ton of free apps that I can just use. And I always try to remind people that it's that old age saying, you get nothing for free. There's nothing for free. There's a cost to something. And if you're not accepting it yourself, someone else is monetizing it for you. And they're up the right field for sure in regards to who they're targeting. People that are more libertarian, critical thinkers, they like to look at information for themselves, are more wary and hesitant. They're going to be more attracted to keeping their information private. A lot of people who kind of take the approach that, oh, you can have my data, I don't care. They'll opt into everything. So it's a laser focused strategy. It's pointed at the right people, the people that know that they should have the right to have their own data and not share it with others, and choose who they want to share with. And that narrative is going to change, I think, in the next couple of years, especially when you see rollout of more tele apps and more innovation with insurance and sharing medical information and whatnot. It won't just be as willy-nilly. People are going to pay a little bit more attention. And if it costs a few dollars, it's certainly well better spent than Netflix or anything like that, where you spend $9 to watch recycled movies with the same story over and over. I'm not a fan of Netflix, as you could see. So yeah, I'm happy for them. It's a longer story. This isn't people are very excited about these dramatic up and downs and trading the market and the meme stocks. Those are fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but this is a real company. And I think they're going to do very well long term. And that's what we look at. We look at investing in teams, projects, companies. Hey, they're going to do quite well.
You're exactly right. When we even were first looking at Globex Data and Secure, that was the first thing we were saying is, wow, this is a really long-term growth play. They're going to get themselves rolled out in all these different countries. They're going to get their product in front of a lot of people, and they're going to just basically convey the message of, hey, we are the safest option as far as protecting your data, as far as cybersecurity. We're the best out there. It's going to take us some time to educate everyone on that, but they're very clear about that being their path forward. So yeah, it's exciting to see them continue to just hit milestones and trend in the right direction.
Perfect. And also Desert Mountain Energy. People, I don't think they're as worried anymore when I don't talk about them as much because, hey, I love them. They're great. It's a long-term play for me. I mean, they don't have any dramatic news that's out right now. We're waiting on news for sure. There's more holes coming. There's always a ton of work behind the scenes. And I'll be reaching out to Mr. Robert Rolfing very soon to see when we can have him, hopefully on the live stream, or we'll do another interview with him. But helium is really grabbing the attention of the mainstream now. Arizona is really lighting it up as far as as the business opportunities there. Taiwan Semiconductor is laying the groundwork for a huge plant there. There's a lot happening behind the scenes in the States, you name it. You need helium for all of this innovation. It's critical. And to have there's a demand. There's a massive demand. There's going to be hopefully supply as they keep on proving up their project. Hopefully production is still at the end of the year. That's what we're kind of aiming for. But we're going to check in with Robert soon. Once again, this thing's going to trade. It's been in a bit of a band, which is a great place to be. I believe they've issued a new options package at a $425 price. So they're kind of put that to the ceiling for the next leapfrog forward. So they're very bullish over there. That's a good indicator if you see that type of thing as well. And this is a good segue. We talk about helium and its critical need for technology and innovation to talk about Cathie Wood. And if you don't know who Cathie Wood is, she's wonderful. She's a great speaker, a great leader out there in the market space. She's not without goods and bad points. She's been off, and she's been up. But hey, listen, if you're going to be taking big shots at the market and looking to hit the moon, as one would say, you're going to be right sometimes. You're going to be wrong sometimes. And her Ark Invest was the fund last year, and it has had an incredible and dramatic rise. She's from the States. She's born in LA, but her family's Irish. She's very analytical and quite. I don't want to say visionary because that kind of makes it seem kind of passe and whimsical. She's not. She's very analytical, and she gets to really focus in on innovation. And it's fascinating stuff. I mean, I could look at her website, listen to her talks. She gets to deal with all the fascinating things that are being done out there. And the good thing with that is that you're on the cutting edge of technology, and you're looking at all these things with it, whether it's vanadium redox batteries, types of energy. You're looking at the new applications of solar power. You're looking at all these commodities and acknowledging, and she recognizes them as well, required for innovation. You're looking at things like cryptocurrency and how that's going to mesh with these 5G future cities of the world. So she's so far thinking ahead and so focused in innovation and 5G cloud, all this together, that it's truly exciting. And it's hard not to get caught up and really excited about what she's talking about.
Yeah, no, she's got a great vision for kind of the path forward and how things are going to innovate and change. And she's obviously been extremely successful. I think when it was at its peak back in February, their ETF was trading around $155 a share, which is extremely impressive. And what she's done over the years, putting together this strategy, obviously she's been very, very bullish on Tesla as one of the huge plays that she was involved in. Very bullish on Bitcoin. I believe she came out last week and said she's got a target of $500,000 for Bitcoin.
Yes.
Which even at the peak of Bitcoin last month when it was sitting around 70,000, I mean, you take 500,000. Okay, that's an insane number to try to get to.
Yeah.
But she does have this very, very unique look at kind of how to combine all the sectors of innovation together. But that also, I think, comes with, in my opinion, maybe the downside of the ETF being that kind of all the stocks they have trade in tandem. They all kind of get lumped in together. So when it's doing good, it's doing really good like we saw in February. But when it's hurting like it kind of is right now, it's dropped down to about $1.07 or $1.09, something like that. Well, not a buck, sorry, 107 or 109. But it's because the stocks that she's involved with trade in such tandem. I think that's why you can see that the huge spike that we got in February and then a huge kind of fall off the cliff that we've gotten over the last month.
Yeah, it's tough too. What you sometimes become a victim to your own success. That does happen, and she's been such a rocket ship herself. You attract, when you start doing as well as she does, you then attract a lot of people, and they start throwing money at your fund. And also size matters. If you're too small, you're gonna have no impact. And even if you've got $200, you put into something, you make a 200% rate of return. Oh yeah, I got 200% rate of return. It's not a lot of money, but you've got a good rate of return. When you've got hundreds of millions, billions of dollars, getting these outlandish rates of return is very, very difficult. You're hunting for specific companies you can place large blocks of money in and that narrows down a lot. So yeah, she had said Bitcoin 500,000. Sorry, I don't believe she put a time frame on it. So yeah, is it possible? Sure. To me, you could even look at the chart. I'm not a chartist, but yeah, it looks like it could get there, maybe 3 years or 4 years when it has another cycle or so. I'm always hesitant with those types of things because there's far better places to look if you're just a retail person where you could put money. And if you're willing to take the risk, the same risk as putting into a Bitcoin, there's better solutions. The other thing with Tesla, she had said, yeah, Tesla's going to 4,000. And that was back in 2018. And she's definitely bullish on Tesla because of the innovation. And once again, I find there's a difference between running a company and running a business, which Tesla is massively overvalued. Even Elon Musk went on Saturday Night Live and said, this is what 90% overvalued or something to that extent.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So I don't see that ever happening. I think she's dead wrong. But hey, anything could happen. She was, unfortunately, she missed the 2008 debacle, as did many. One of her detractors, who we'll talk again about, is Dr. Michael Burry, who the Big Short is kind of based around. Obviously made an absolute killing there, and he's actively shorting Tesla. So you can see how these big names out there are, they're at odds. It isn't that everyone's just drinking the Kool-Aid one way or the other. There's massive, people and groups of money at stake, and it's a zero-sum game. So it isn't just, everyone's on the same side pushing everything one way. It's not. And it isn't that Michael Burry isn't agreeing with most of the things that she would say. He's all about innovation. It's just, if it's innovation and it's coming strictly from Tesla and Bitcoin and the companies she's picked, some of them might do very well, but some of these ones have already done exceptionally well. And we don't know, at least I don't know, I could do a bit more research when she got into Bitcoin, when she got into Tesla, because she could be exiting right now and has been exiting for 6 months. So when you own the stock, when you own the fund, and you're out there pushing it, not only are you a believer, you own it. You need it to go up. You want it to go up.
Yeah.
And that's the plus and the negative of having a fund and being that person. But she, as far as looking at innovation and so smart and seeing where the macro trend is going, absolutely go check out the website, Ark Investments. I'm not saying go buy the fund or anything. That's beside the point. It's just look at the work that she's done there, and it is incredible. She's really laser focused in on what this future has a very good shot at looking at.
Yeah, and it's I think of Ark Investments as a great resource to have as well, because they do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. If you're interested in a lot of these stocks, you can go there and get information on it. You can go listen to any number of talks or presentations she's done on a bunch of these different companies. There's a great one on for anyone who's kind of interested in the Bitcoin cryptocurrency space of things. She's a very huge promoter of Coinbase. She does a great talk. You can find it on YouTube. Just type in Cathie Wood Coinbase. There's an awesome 20-minute conversation that she has where she talks about why she thinks that's the best platform to go with, why that might be the path forward. So they do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, and you can use it as a great resource. And I don't know if you saw this morning, Andrew, but I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on their most recent load up. They spent about $42 million yesterday, Ark Investments did, on buying about $10.5 million worth of Google and another $32 million worth of Zoom. So what do you think the play is with that going forward? What's she maybe seeing here to make her go after those stocks?
Well, once again, she has to be able to place large blocks and large trades into big companies. I'll never in my life will I invest in a FANG company. So I'm extraordinarily biased against them. I have zero interest. But hey, you know what? Google, they do a lot of great work. I mean, there's lots of great science. They do a lot of R&D. The problem with a lot of these companies are extremely overvalued and take away the fact that they're authoritarian and predatory by nature. I don't like their business models in any way. I love the technology of what Google's done and that we can search and whatnot. I don't like anything else that they've done beyond that. So I have no interest in supporting those types of companies, even to the extent of not even talking about it. Can she make money on it? Maybe, probably. Yeah. Who knows? So I don't really I don't care. I don't want to. I would never put my money into something that puts it into FANG. But what I would say is you could still be involved in all of the ideas she has in innovation, and you can look strictly to Canada and get, I would argue, far greater returns in a market that's better designed for a retail investor. You have a way better chance if you looked at a couple companies. I won't name them here, but you can reach out to me that I know just off the top of my head that are doing incredible nanotech work in Canada. Space work, biotech, you name it, FDA approvals and different research drugs. There's so much work being done, cloud storage in Canada, and you can find these companies and they can have exceptional gains, massive gains. And they couldn't even take money from Cathie Wood. A lot of these companies, they can't take a $100 million investment from Ark, or she might need to place 150 million at a time.
She'd be buying the whole company 4 times.
Yeah, you're buying the whole company, so you can't do it. And they're not. And for them to go, well, we'll give you 3 million. Still, for a junior company in Canada in innovation, you're going to own half the company, and it's not worth it to them. So this is the problem with the vast sums of money that some of these money managers have. And also how broken our system is this push of money to one side of the market, to the 0.1%. And I'm always hesitant to use the word equality or unequal because it means something horrible today. But it is, we're living in a time where it is grossly, there's no middle ground. The fulcrum is swung so horribly one way that reckoning has to come. And all this printing of money, that reckoning has to come. And this actually ties into where she predicts, and she mentioned it in Reuters, I believe it was just a month ago, not quite a month ago, predicts a serious correction in commodities. And once again, it's hard to know exactly what she meant in context, because I would say, no, we're in a commodity super cycle. This is going to go on for quite some time. Most big thinkers would disagree with her. But what you could say, yeah, if I looked at a couple ones, like copper has risen up dramatically very quickly. Okay, some rare earths have driven up very quickly. Her comment was that people are buying supplies and whatnot for the economy opening up, and it's like, well, a lot of these commodities are absolutely key and required for all the innovation companies that she wants and all the stuff she's talking about. And this is what happens when we get too sector specific and we get stuck too much into, say, innovation, or I like to call them my Star Trek stories. There's a lot of R&D there. There's lots of excitement. There's lots of things that could happen, but sometimes it takes 10 years. Like if you look at graphene, like GMG with graphene, it takes, graphene was discovered and it was a wonder material in 2011. There was a Nobel Prize won about it.
Yeah.
It's taken this long to start to get something commercial going, because it just does. The adoption rate takes quite some time. And from her point of view, like she's saying, there's going to be not inflation, but deflation, which once again is radically absurd if you looked at it from a retail investor, from anyone who's living in the world's point of view. But from her point of view, it would almost seem like that's true, because yes, you can buy a computer today that costs basically the same as it did 15 years ago. It's just way better.
Yeah.
So in technology, they've kept the prices the same or down or low. So there's been a deflation in one innovative space, making use to a lot of technology to make it cheaper, while something like, say, food and housing has got skyrocketed. Food lately, housing has been on an absolute tear, ridiculous tear for quite some time. The inflation rate of living is massive. And we haven't even got into actually increasing our interest rates. If that happens, that's another story altogether. So there's a lot there. I've kind of spat out in a hurry.
It makes a lot of sense, right? Because it's the way that you're looking at and viewing the world. And I think that kind of ties into the point I made about everything that Ark's involved with trades in tandem, right? Like she's got it's not like it's a tunnel vision mindset, but it is very focused on this innovation sector. So of course you're going to want to be pumping innovation stocks and saying, and I believe that quote came out when pretty much every tech stock was down, and her fund especially was down. So she's
Yes.
probably thinking like, hey, look, I got to have something to say, look, no, we're coming back. I think the actual thing is, going to be here. And everyone does that. You look at all the top fund managers, they're going to promote what they're in and kind of crap all over what they're not in. So, that's to be expected with her, I think.
Yes.
But,
and she's not wrong. And that's what I appreciate about it. She should be promoting innovation. That's what we should always be promoting. And she does have to save her fund a bit, but yeah, I think we're on to with the commodities. And the one thing I wanted to reiterate what you're saying is that it's hard to place the amount of money that she would have into a commodities super cycle anyway, like unless she's just going to get into futures.
Yes, no, exactly. There's no real opportunity for her or for Ark to get involved in a lot of the things that, like, even you want to use Desert Mountain as an example. Like, they're not going to be getting involved in Desert Mountain Energy as a stock when we're just talking about them buying $32 million worth of Zoom. Like that, I mean, Zoom trades around like $300 a share or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not even in the same sphere of thinking, but that's what creates a great opportunity for guys like us to then say, okay, well, they were doing that stuff over there. Let's go ahead and target this over here because that's our opportunity to go make a few bucks.
Yes, and also the thing to keep in mind is for the risk, what return are you expecting? And if you've got a great portfolio and you've got a lot of assets and this and that, everything, then you need to look at different types of companies. And if you're really starting out and you want dramatic growth, and even with the wildly speculative sector that she's in, I mean, she's in a high speculative, just like junior mining or just like any other commodity sector, although it's cyclical. They're in very driven, innovative spaces that get great returns one year, and sometimes it's not so great the next. So, just a little highlight on Cathie Wood because she's so important, and Ark Investments it's an amazing website. It's full of resources to look at. Her talks are incredible. She's so insightful, and the way she explains what the future hopefully looks like is wonderful as well. So I wanted to really highlight someone that's in the news and taking a stand. I mean, it's a tough job to have. I mean, a lot of times fund managers get bashed, and sure, they make a ton of money, and I'll leave that part out there. But also, it's tough because when it's going good, you look like a star, and when it's going badly, you look terrible. But hopefully, people see past that and they think, listen, she's taking a beating right now. She can't be right all the time. She has to promote what she's promoting because it's her vision of the fund as well.
Exactly.
And no one wants to hear inflation. And sometimes reality is hard to hear. And if it seems like there's a slowdown in certain areas and people are a bit more wary, no, it's a tough message and a tough pill to swallow.
No, and she's kind of built the reputation as well of being sort of an icon, or even on Reddit, you see her referred to as Queen Cathie when it comes to looking at a lot of these stocks. So she's got that sort of angle to uphold on it as well. She has to kind of be the queen for this sort of stuff. She has to be the focal point because a lot of people turn to her for advice on this. A lot of people who don't really have an interest in trading stuff are just like, yeah, I'm going to throw some money in Ark Investments because it looks like it's on a great tear. So yes, that's to be expected. But she is such a great resource for anything innovation, for looking at any of these kind of stocks in this sector. Her and her fund are an awesome resource to have in your back pocket.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a great resource to go look at and to read to get a bit of sense. A lot of her key themes are not unlike my own. I just think, for a smaller player, there's better opportunities, better stocks that one can buy for the same risk tolerance. But her message is clear. It's exciting. And anyways, wish her the best, and I wish you all the best this weekend. Get out there, turn everything off, enjoy the summer. The weather, whether it's rain or shine, get out there in nature, enjoy each other and your families, and have a great one.
Yep, absolutely. You as well, Andrew.
Take care.
Bye.